he's going to give you, probably not a sword, though. He's going to give you some weapon to be able to get through the entire escape sequence, though. What weapon it is varies. That's part of the randomizer. The randomizer itself mixes up everything, and Uncle asks us, why do we only have one bed? We share it. Dirty uncle. So we get an interesting item to start out with. We have the flippers to get us warmed up here.
And you gotta admit, that is always a fantastic item to find, although you may want to have a better item. Also, hi, Vitasia.
Hey, Glentie, my good friend here. Glad to have you on board.
Glad to be here, bud. And look at that, we already have the bow. Ooh, Justin Z versus Ruble. I came back to a really good match.
I was going to say, this is quite the match for you to just kind of step into. Ruble does have a 1-0 lead in this one, so we might see Justin Z take some interesting gambles trying to stay in this race.
From my experiences, I remember him bodying me in the first tournament in the fall, so I expect really good execution and routing from Justin. Ruble, since he is paired up with Justin, I have no doubt is going to be quite the competition.
So as we're going through, they do get the bow as their first item, which is a really interesting early weapon. Not only does it do quite a bit of damage, but you get a ton of arrows to start off with. You can farm up bombs, and we do already see an early bomb on Justin Z's.
Always very convenient to have. Absolutely fantastic, because it doesn't mean you have to worry about finding the boots to bunk open the back of the escape sequence, which means you don't have to route it for later. Many of you may already know that, but shout outs to our YouTube audience that might be finding it for the first time later on.
That's right. I always forget we do put these on YouTube, don't we? Just to make sure it's there for posterity, for everyone to be able to view a little bit later.
Absolutely. It's fun to watch, and it's the way I first found the community.
Oh, me as well. I think you and I joined right around the same time.
Nice. Oh, unfortunately, not being able to swoosh on by through either of those guards before getting to the two guard rooms, if you will. And we got a blue rupee. How exciting.
Yay. It's a blue rupee.
We have a 20th of the amount that you need for the bottle vendor. Although technically they already have at least a quarter each.
Yeah, they're doing all right. I mean, looks like they picked up a little bit on their way. So here is where things start getting interesting. Justin finding another bomb drop. Ruble, unfortunately, not having the same luck as Justin Z is with those 5 bomb drops. And we find the ice rod.
That's a nice rod to find in the beginning of the game.
Yeah, I heard someone say that the ice rod is one of those isolated items that you'd like to find relatively early.
Oh, that just gave me chills.
Calm down. You got a whole race to get through. We need to pace ourselves on this.
Yep, nope, don't worry. I'm good with that. Oh, interesting little video effect that I saw. Oh, that must have just been from the stream. Never mind. I was going to say that was not familiar, where the darkened pattern on the foreground was, but never mind that. Interesting thing to note, both of them are using custom sprites that are made by people of this community. So we have Zelda saving Zelda and an outline of Link saving Zelda.
You know, sometimes if you need to escape prison before you're sentenced to imprisonment into a crystal, you don't care if it's just the outline of someone saving you. You just go ahead and get out of the cell.
Yeah, with such a bizarre situation, anything else being bizarre is kind of given.
So it did look like Ruble did pick up 1 bomb, so he's going to at least be able to take care of the 1 bomb location in the back of Escape. Justin, with that 4 bomb drop, is going to be at least a little bit ahead. He's going to be able to take care of going through the entirety of Kakariko Village before having to buy any bombs, so that's going to make his routing a little bit more efficient.
Indeed, it will. However, if they both end up picking up bombs from any of the places that would normally drop a bomb in the randomizer, such as the tree poles or perhaps even the Krebs, we're going to see both of them don't have that much of an advantage. But in the case that does not happen, which is still very possible, that does mean Justin will have just a couple of seconds ahead at the beginning of the game. Very negligible and something that you don't want to focus on right off the bat, but something that can still add up in the event that it keeps on going in such a fashion. Needless to say, we have the blue tunic, the burrito, and a heart container, sorry. Not necessarily a bad find. You got a little bit of safety.
A little bit, yeah. I mean, the blue mail is absolutely nice to have at least this early on when you may not be having a ton of hearts. More importantly, that burrito means that we're going to have to go ahead and open this last treasure chest in the sanctuary location. Normally, the sanctuary chest is part of the entire escape sequence, so if you're holding out on the burrito and you get to this point, you can kind of skip it, which confuses a lot of people. Instead,
we get bombs. That could be rather interesting. We haven't seen if we need either medallion place yet.
It's a little early for medallions. I think they would rather see other progression items. We do get a crystal check, 1, 2, 3. So crystals, no special crystals, but nice to see those at very least.
I have to check the map again, but did I just see that saying that 1, 2, 3 were actually in the typical vanilla order for the pendants, where 1 was over in Eastern, 2 was in Desert, and 3 was Tower of Hera? That is rather interesting. Ooh, Justin going the other way around, going upward. We got a tree pool confirmed for magic. We got the mushroom spot holding a big 20, and he decides to go for it, not wanting to take the risk of missing the bottle vendor.
Yeah, at that point in time, you want to go ahead and do it. Getting the tier 2 tree pull being the full magic pots might be good intelligence if they need magic a little bit later. Ruble is going to be the only one giving us this Lumberjack Ledge intelligence. It is just a small piece of heart, though.
Very interesting way I'm seeing Justin route this. Normally, I would expect him to also follow the path that Ruble did, but this does technically save a little bit of time in the event that you need to go and check for something later.
Well, I've seen a lot of the top-end runners actually eschew doing that Lumberjack Ledge check until it becomes more logically necessary. For example, as soon as you get the boots and possibly a sword or two, then you start getting worried about something being there. But until you get the boots, for example, if it's a bootless seed, just go ahead and avoid it for now. Save the frames for the moment.
Interesting. Very interesting. And in the bottom of Blind's Hut, we have the silver arrows. An arrow upgrade. A heart piece. And we have literacy. Take a look. It is in a book, Reading Rainbow. And in the way back with the 30 rupees, we have just another piece of heart. But you have 102 rupees now, so that means Justin can eventually go to the bottle vendor.
So that literacy is really interesting. The bow can sometimes point over towards Eastern Palace. However, that book points hard towards Desert Palace. So we'll see if there's any route divergence once we get to that point in this particular seed.
Well, if we need to worry about bottle vendor, we didn't anymore.
I don't know if we ever really worried about bottle vendor. He's
nobody worries about bottle vendor. He's always there. He's dependably always there. Whether he has something of use or not is a different story. We got a jar of red Kool-Aid over for Justin.
Very nice placement for that jar as well. You can go ahead and route in Sick Kid while you're here in the entire area, and a bit of a refund. He's like an investment banker.
And with the chicken hut, we are going in. We are seeing... Oh, no wall chicken today. Valiant effort, of course. And we have a heart container again. So for starting to build up a good amount of health, going to make it easy for you to not get immediately bodied if you are immediately sent into the dark world, for whatever reason there may be.
Well, 5 hearts at this point in time, plus blue mail, that'll do you all right for a little bit until we start getting into some of these early to mid Dark World dungeons. I think right around Skullwoods is where it starts getting a little bit scary for this build out. And what?
Oh, wow. Stop hammer time. We've got the hammer from the Sick Kid. Sick Kid finally proving to be useful for something for once. And the back of the tavern, we just get 20 more bucks. Wow, that's pretty fantastic. However, since they have enough money, enough bombs, and they had a bottle, that does mean they cleared a majority of Kakariko.
Yeah, a couple things that we're still missing. Of course, the Bat Cave, which we need the powder for, or, the powder glitch. We also don't have the flute quite yet, and just a big 20 in the race game. So Justin Z is going to save and quit in his first through Kakariko Village.
And from here, where does he go? Yep, he is going to finish the rest of the majority of the south side of the underworld. As to be expected by many racers, this does also eliminate a lot of the considered quote-unquote free areas of the game that don't really have anything that are unlocked to help give you a better idea of what you can be expecting for your routing decisions. Of course, we already have plenty of those decisions already made for us at this moment, but you never know what could turn up.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what kind of judgments Justin Z makes. He is down 1-0, and I'm really excited to see what kind of jumps he ends up making. If he makes any gambles, knowing that he's behind, he's going to have to try to pull something out to win this. When you're behind 1-0 in a best of 3, sometimes you have to pull out some gambles in order to guarantee a win.
Right, you are. And as we've seen, both of these runners apparently doing a pretty good job making sure to clear everything up ahead of time. And into the mini Moldorm cave we go. Ruble deciding to go for the 20 bucks for whatever reason there may be, possibly a Zora check eventually, in the event that they end up getting a lot of money. And
Justin Z showing off ice rod strats. That was amazing. Although
that was quite clutch.
Nothing though from Justin Z in that mini Moldorm cave. He does skip what is traditionally a route over to the Ice Rod Cave, so there might be that first gamble, and he's going to go over to Eastern Palace in that direction now.
At the moment, he's probably figuring that he can end up going there once he has either the boots and or the flute to make sure to maximize the amount of efficiency routing over to there. But nonetheless, this is not a bad play. There are still plenty of items that can be considered free because this is the first dungeon. You don't necessarily require anything to enter it. We also have, as we're seeing, Sahasrara and his little hut. So let's go into the old man's garage and see what we've got today. And survey says, oh, we have the glove and the can of Samaria and a heart container. The old man holding out some good stuff.
Absolutely. That lift upgrade is our second piece of the puzzle in terms of Dark World access. Only missing the Moon Pearl right now. I would be a little bit nervous about that early cane, though. That's not something you necessarily want to see when you're still trying to navigate Dark World, simply because between that and Ice Rod, you're getting closer to logical access to the wonderful, horrible, no good, very bad Turtle Rock.
Turtle Rock, or as I like to call it, anyone sober's headache and or migraine and or hangover.
I'm going to go out on a limb, and this is probably not that big of a gamble, but Sahasrara is going to be more hype than the actual hype cave. Just going to put that out there.
That's as much of a gamble as saying that you're going to be playing a video game. In the meantime, we saw that there wasn't too much of value in the first chest. However, that also did suggest that there are still 3 dungeon items remaining. So we're going to see Justin skip a chest in the event that he doesn't find more dungeon items right off the bat. We do know he can obviously complete this. Oh, there's one of them.
In the meantime, Ruble is actually showing us remember, we got those flippers in the very first chest, so he's following that breadcrumb in the meantime, checking Hobo, the Hylia Island, and likely he's only 5 rupees short. He might take a dip up to the Waterfall Ferry and Zora as well.
All right. Not a bad call, actually. That actually could lead somewhere. There is technically knowledge, if nothing else. And if we find a very valuable item over on Zora, we're going to find out that that was indeed the right breadcrumb to follow.
Well, Ruble's also going to check over here in the Ice Rod Cave. Justin Z found nothing in this first part of Escape, and does know that logically, at any rate, this is a bust. Sahasrara, of course, had lots of options here, but inside Eastern itself, not so much.
Just going and doing this room in the dark, technically considered a logic skip, but nonetheless very valuable if you want to get an early crystal lead. Meanwhile, Ruble didn't really find a whole lot of anything valuable up in the Ice Rod Cave, but that is one more location that we know Justin won't be finding anything valuable in.
Yeah, if he ends up getting into a point where he's searching for something, then he will route over there and it will take him more time to get through than the other one. So that's worth noting. Ruble finding half magic in the meantime.
Not bad at all. Half magic's always quite valuable at this point. Justin going for a rather quick strat, getting a piece of heart for his troubles, and a crystal. So there wasn't really a whole lot aside from the crystal, but that does mean he does have the crystal lead. And skipping that one dungeon did mean he no longer has to find any more items, meaning he doesn't have to backtrack. On the other hand, Ruble, now heading up to Zora with 515 rupees, is going and seeing what the Light World's greatest scam artist has for him today. I hate to see that.
That is the most expensive little bit of love I have ever seen outside of Nevada.
I was going to make a joke like that too. Meanwhile, after a almost simultaneous save and quit, we're going to be seeing Justin heading over likely to the desert, and we're going to be seeing Ruble heading in the direction Justin was just going. As we currently know, a logic skip would bring him directly up to Death Mountain, although he wouldn't really have that much access to anything except for one item.
Yeah, I don't know if that's
technically 2 items.
Yeah,
it's
so they're both
not valuable.
Yeah, not terribly valuable at this point in time. So they're kind of trading places with each other. The only other Sphere 1 location that they really have access to that we haven't checked at this point in time is going to be over here in Agina's cave.
That's a very good point. That is a cave that most people often neglect until later, and we have seen it burn many racers in the past.
Absolutely. It's one of those one-off locations that you try to avoid until you can get over to desert. That book might be pulling them in that direction, but they are opting to forego it. Chad did point out, when we initially had the book, we didn't have the gloves, we didn't have a fire source, we didn't have the boots. Might be a good reason to avoid desert for the time being, because you won't be able to clear it out. But Rando don't care. Sometimes if your logic's there, and it don't care.
That is true. And as we've seen, sometimes the logic has us go in absolutely bananas ways just to go and get one item eventually, to then go and continue on, when a solid logic skip would be able to just bypass over a half an hour worth of time.
Justin having a little bit of problem with this portal here. The swimming in there really can be eccentric from time to time, I think is a good way to call it.
Frustrating is also another good one. Sometimes hilarious. Oh, Justin going for the RNG fairy bottle. And
Hey, listen.
Ocarina of Time reason. Oh, and he gets some Kool-Aid in a jar. Sounds like a good summer drink. And of course, the value. Also, I do want to mention, even though I don't want this to necessarily curse them, they did get the book really early on. There is one thing that they could have checked that they didn't.
Don't even. As soon as you say it, chat is gonna latch onto it like a newborn babe.
I said it, and much like chat, I am wanting to see some shenanigans. I normally don't, but today is a day where I'm feeling a little extra sassy. Zora, unfortunately, coughing up another small heart piece for Justin, as expected. Ruble going through the dark rooms, not wanting to take the risk of missing the item and having to backtrack. An understandable concept. And this is where Justin ends up heading towards the desert. What will he find? Will it be anything useful? Will he find a progression item in there? Will it be just as useless as an arrow? Who knows? We're about to find out.
We know that our progression absolutely must be in this general vicinity. It's either in Agina's cave or in this point in a desert. Desert itself only has 2 items total. However, if you think about it, we have desert ledge, and Agina, so there's a possibility of up to 4 items being over here. Might as well go ahead and come over here and check it.
And of course, the smart decision going directly into Agina's cave first, since it is closer. And it appears we have... Oh, looks like going into the desert palace was the appropriate play.
Yeah, I saw some doubt there in chat. I see ya. Yeah, desert's a play. I know it.
Rub-a-dub-dub, read that book, you scrub.
I can go twice as high.
Take a look, it's in a book. Something religious input. I can make the screen go and do a vignette. Move some rocks. This vulture flocks, reading Rainbow.
So I gotta feel like we're gonna find either the Moon Pearl or... Actually, if we find the lamp, that'll give us logical access up to Death Mountain here as well. So that might be our next, I don't know, breadcrumb in the chain. So lots of things we can find.
I would assume right now we're either getting the lamp or the Moon Pearl, because those are the 2 logical progression items that we're going to need to go pretty much anywhere else that isn't immediately in the overworld. Now, granted, if we get something like the boots for the bonk rocks, that's another story. If we get a fetch quest item.
And chat's yelling at me. Moon Pearl is on the desert ledge, so he did find it.
I'm oblivious, because we actually looked over there and I thought that was a piece of heart. Because I saw a white border and I saw red and went, oh, never mind, I won't mention it yet. Well, my bad.
Justin Z might be doing something kind of dangerous here. He is stealing the key from the back of desert in order to check what's in the other side of desert here.
Ooh, risky maneuver, because we know that Moon Pearl is not logically connected to the desert palace.
No, this is super dangerous here by Justin Z. Anything that he finds...
Oh, go ahead.
Anything he finds in here is going to be out of logic. Absolutely. Probably, I mean, locked behind the boots in all likelihood, because we didn't find anything in this first treasure chest. So this is a bit of a sequence break and can be super dangerous here for Justin, especially if it's not, I mean, it's a boots required seed, just depends on how long it is till we get them.
I swear, watch the boots be in this chest. Oh, I saw red and I was getting hopeful, but no, it's a shield. All right, so that means Justin took the chance and he is boot locked out of the rest of that dungeon until further notice. Well, boot and lamp locked in, master key locked in, you know. It does give him Dark World access, though, and look where we're heading right now. It appears we are heading...
Looks like the Hype Cave.
That's not a bad decision. As we know, Hype Cave is a bunch of items to check off on the way, and you can route that around to either the north side with the Pyramid and Catfish and Palace of Darkness, or go around to check the digging game and see Old Stumpy.
All right, so here comes Hype Cave. We're starting with a little bit of love.
Break out those resident sleepers.
I'm going to go out on a limb and call that Garbo. How about you, Glenn?
Sorry, what? I took a nap. What's going on?
Yeah, that's about right. So 6-5 crystals and pod and turtle rock. I did not catch. Oh my gosh, that was such a quick check.
That was a very quick check. I actually missed it because I was making a snarky comment about Resident Sleeper being used to connect Hype Cave.
I mean, the best thing you got out of it was a full heart
there we
container.
go.
Yep.
Turtle Rock confirmed required. Palace of Darkness also required. Both of them red crystals, 5 and 6 respectively.
Meanwhile, we got Skullwoods, Misery Mire, and Ice Palace as our pendant. So logically, let's see, that means Fire Rod absolutely cannot be on the pedestal. It means the glove upgrade absolutely cannot be on the pedestal. And either the hook shot or the boots cannot be on the pedestal, and then the medallion from Misery Mire and the flute cannot be on the pedestal. So that's actually pretty much all of our progression, isn't it?
Yeah, it pretty much is. So, glad I got Chad all hyped for that, and then it immediately got destroyed. It's a valuable life lesson. I think. I don't know. I'm tired. Still kind of waking up. Let's roll with it.
We'll go with it. It's all right. Justin Z farms up using that stun prize knowledge, knowing that you get a big 20 from every enemy you stun and then kill. Using that knowledge to farm up the rupees necessary to get into Palace of Darkness. He has both the bow and the hammer, so this is a pretty logical play, all things said, at this point in time. Not necessarily a traditional play, but it's at least logical.
Honestly, considering everything else that he has, I would say this is currently worth the risk because, you know, for the most part, everything is going to be easily taken care of on actually either screen right now. Because right now we're going to be figuring out for knowledge what Stumpy has, possibly what the digging game has, and that could turn up awesome or insignificant. Justin is going and furthering that crystal lead. And so far it seems like that was accurate. Oh, Ruble almost saving quitting, but I think they're deciding to head to the race game? Or sorry, the digging game. Diving? Hello? Nope, more stun prizes.
Yeah, more stun prizes, absolutely. Ruble is doing the same thing that Justin Z was doing. He's going to stun some enemies while he's farming up some rupees. Not usually something we have to see at this point in time, but it's been kind of a Ruple seed so far.
You are correct. However, I did also miss the fact that they didn't have enough items, enough rupees at first for the digging game, and then just made sure they had 20 extra, or 23 extra rather. Justin going through, not using, unless I'm horribly mistaken, not using the potion glitch and just going through vanilla. Finding a small key so we can continue venturing on, and Ruble gets 10 arrows for their efforts. Oof. And deciding to dig a little more to get perhaps a little more money out of that, before Alec Baldwin confirms that it is time for Ruble to go, and Ruble decides to save and quit right on out of there. Ooh, something I haven't seen done before, and that is actually really sweet. Justin ended up using a bomb jump just to skip over needing to go all the way around again. Wow, that's really cool. He opens up big chest for later and gets 10 bombs. Meanwhile, Ruble going and likely checking Hype Cave at this point for the ultimate in lazy/resident sleeper technology. Justin Z going through the basement, going and getting the rupees before opening up what seems to be the big key, question mark? And we got a small key also to continue that on the other side. So right now it currently seems like we're going to see Justin complete this dungeon without any effort, without any effort lost. And Ruble decides, you know what, Resident Sleeper Cave, not my thing. With good reason. So we're about to see Ruble also follow in the same footsteps before Justin ends up making his way through the dark room, using the boomerang just to figure out his current little bit of leverage, if you will, or placement, rather, in there.
Yeah, typically you want to, if you have a sword, that's the preferred method to kind of gauge your way around that dark room. Boomerang is inventive, but doesn't really do anything against the enemies that are in here. So you're just bonking ahead.
That is a risk to take, but nonetheless a valid one. Meanwhile, Justin picks up the 2 remaining dungeon items before heading over to the big chest. And the survey says, oh, we have the cape. Ruble, in the meantime, found a big 20, if I'm not mistaken, on the pyramid. So that was something. And now we're going to see what the Dark World Catfish is going to catfish us with today. Or perhaps they're going to give us something nice. I'm betting on the catfish being catfish. It's going to be some sort of prince from a country that you don't pay attention to telling you it needs your bank account information.
Wow, that is oddly specific there, Glenty.
Well, you know, pay enough attention on the internet, you can make all the jokes you want. I just don't want to label a country to it. Nonetheless, Justin took a death warp.
I'm hoping Catfish has something worthwhile here, because Justin has not found anything here in Pod up to this point in time, and Ruble finds...
Oh.
No.
Ruble went up and said, show me potato salad, and the board just gave him a big ol' X. I have no idea why potato salad was the first thing that came to mind.
I was going to say, that was an interesting reference. I got it. I got the Family Feud reference, but man...
No idea. Nonetheless, we are now in the inescapable cutscene of longevity. We like to tell you to read a little bit of light reading, like some War and Peace, maybe the Cask of Amontillado 20 times. And we're finally out of that one. Justin's going and heading down, doing the dark room version of the basement here. Doing this without a lamp is not that difficult. It's just really frustrating to deal with the turtle-like enemies in the bottom. Fun fact, many people already know this and take it for granted, but there are turtles in Palace of Darkness, but there are no turtles in Turtle Rock, despite the fact that Turtle Rock is literally shaped like a turtle.
I mean, that's okay. That's a lot more interesting in the back of my head now that I'm starting to think about it. Why do you have these philosophical questions for me, Clint?
Well, you see, when a man loves a shark, his heart is an ocean. he's going to need a bigger boat. In the meantime, Justin Z is going around playing Whack-A-Turtle, trying to find them all in the dark.
So the interesting thing is we really haven't found a ton of progression here at all. Where is our progression here?
Well, since we already have all 3 dungeon items on Justin's side, that does suggest that Helmasaur has 1 item left.
But it's not logically in access because we don't have the lamp.
That doesn't mean we don't have it to access in other places. And as we know, Justin is well okay with not worrying about dark rooms.
Well, yes, I'm just trying to figure out how a plebe like myself who can't do dark rooms would go about doing this scene.
Wiggle the controls until you get frustrated and give up.
That
Justin, he
really
just a lot of
describes
memorization.
So say, yeah, that kind of describes my efforts in the Swiss tournament. Yeah.
I know the feeling when I started to practice dark rooms myself. Oh no, 10 arrows! So where's the progression? It's got to be in the overworld and some of the other escape. Oh wait, of course. I forgot we still have another place in the overworld to go to that we can access right off the bat in the Village of Outcast and Thieves Town, and technically the dungeon area of Skull Woods.
Right. We do have full access to that side. We just haven't checked it yet. That's completely correct.
I can only imagine chat going, come on guys, we figured that out 15 hours ago. What the heck? I forgot to open up my chat program, so I haven't seen chat yet.
Yeah, don't look at it. Just saying. I will say, while we see Justin Z going to be tracking the same things that Ruble just checked, and Ruble tracking the same things that Justin just checked, a big shout out in the meantime to our wonderful tracker, Chief Salad, doing all the work for us, making sure we don't look like any more of silly than we already look.
You know, I gotta give him props. It's not potato salad, but Chief Salad, probably fantastic. Also doing awesome with keeping up on track. Also, Calvin MLG, I see what you did there. Also, big shout out to Speed Gaming and Feasel and the rest of the Speed Gaming crew for making sure we have a solid stream to do this on.
Absolutely. And, you know, this is just the first round of a round of 128 people in brackets. There's still plenty more Randomizer. If you haven't already, go ahead and follow Speed Gaming 1 through 6 and ALTTP Randomizer 1 through 4 to get all of your action that we can possibly put together here for Speed Gaming in the spring tournament. We're just going to keep going. We're just going to do as much as we possibly can until they tell us no mas.
But for now, uno mas. And in the meantime, Justin's going to find out that the catfish is going to be catfished. Once again, being told ASL and just, you know, totally not what you're looking for. And now I'm going to assume we're going to see, a Village of Outcast run, or we could be seeing a less likely actually, no, probably Village of Outcast. Justin's going to be routing this in a more efficient way than going to Death Mountain right now.
Yeah, at this point in time, I gotta think it's Village of Outcast, although I don't put anything past Justin. Again, it's the low percent plays that Justin needs to make in order to get there.
Oh, Ruble taking a death, likely for a death warp, but nonetheless, once again proven right.
Question in chat: what has Ruble done that Justin hasn't, or why is Justin ahead? Ruble has done some fake flip, or he didn't have to do fake flippers. He has done some of the flipper locations. I think. Otherwise, that's the only difference that I could possibly think of.
Justin's going and... Oh, interesting. Going and checking Skullwards first.
This is kind of some old routing back from the fall tournament that I think has not yet gotten out of some people's heads. Skull Woods used to be called Value Woods because there always seemed to be progression. With version 29 logic, it rebalanced things so that overworlds and dungeons had kind of equal likelihood, but, you know, I could be wrong.
Oh, Vitasia. I didn't know that they actually changed that over, but that was so well timed for you to say that, for him to find the mirror. Because version 26 during the fall tournament, we had said we have an unwritten rule for it. Check your pendant dungeons and check Skull Woods, and that was just a wonderful throwback to that.
Oh my goodness. So clearly, yeah. Thank you, version 26, for making me feel just as dumb as I did before.
No worries. I've definitely had my foot in my mouth in this tournament several times. Let's talk about that ether tablet. And with the mirror, we are seeing Justin piece right on out into Skull Woods.
Ooh, we're getting a pedestal check super early now.
Also, I meant to say Lost Woods, but Glenn can't words today. But a pedestal check. Very interesting. We already saw that there was a majority of things that weren't on the pedestal, unless this is a vanilla sword upgrade.
Yeah, I don't think this is going to be anything. The mirror was the only thing that could have been. So this can't
just a heart container. And Justin confirmed not pleased with that, although I would rather be pleased with that, to be honest.
Well, if he knew his pendant dungeons and thought about it logically, he should have known that nothing of value is going to be there. Although, you know, at this point, it might be worth it going to get a sword. We still haven't found a sword. We're 41, almost 42 minutes in, and we are still swordless.
Yep, this is going to be one heck of a go mode item, I'll tell you that. Is it currently a go mode item? Of course not. But does that mean it has potential to be? Of course. Did I just commentary curse? We'll find out.
I mean, I'm all about commentators cursing, although it usually ends up being a blessing of some sort. I'll say, no, there's no way this is going to happen, and then it happens.
I am very much the opposite. I've had to apologize to many runners. In the meantime, down goes King Helmasaur. Going to be getting his 10 arrows, and then Ruble's likely going to have to figure out on their own to head over to Village of Outcasts. Although having that mirror will definitely help. So maybe they should be heading to Skullwards first.
Well, mirror unlocks kind of some sporadic and out-of-the-way locations. Most importantly, you know, they have not yet gone up to Death Mountain, but if they want to do that sequence break, they can get all of East Death Mountain right now because of that mirror.
That is true, and if I'm not mistaken, also Cave 45, the cave underneath the Sacred Grove.
Yep, Cave 45, Graveyard Ledge. We also have access to the Bombos tablet if we really want to go there. So the mirror is one of those things that unlocks things all over the world, and it's horrible when you get it and you're not already, like you've already routed those things together.
You know, we already know Bombos won't be at Bombos tablet. What if there's going to be something useful at Bombos tablet?
Don't say that. Don't.
Oh, I said
don't put that. Why? Why do you hate fun?
I am Death, Destroyer of Seeds. Anyway. Oh my god, I can't believe that just came out of my mouth. Anyways, second chest, gonna find a whole lot of nothing.
2 dungeon items so far in the first part of Thieves Town. Now, you can go ahead and logically defeat this. We have a weapon. Blind don't care. Blind logic is just have a weapon to beat him. It doesn't matter if it's the Cane of Berna. If you can damage him, the logic says you can beat him.
Ooh, getting bullied by the bully in the Lost Woods. Poor Ruble. Losing a couple items that he definitely doesn't need to worry about.
All 4 dungeon items in the front half of Thieves. There is no quick dips into Thieves Town. Not that you would because it's a crystal, but this seed guarantees that you're not taking a quick dip and then leaving. Everything in the front half is worthless outside of Thieves Town.
That is a bit rough, considering that you want to go as fast as possible. It also, as Chad has been alluding to, does suggest we have Kana Samaria strats to look forward to on Blind, and I am 500% about that.
500%. That is a lot of percent to be about something, sir.
So much percent you can't say it on a family-friendly channel.
Oh my.
Not really, I just wanted to make that joke. Anyways, nonetheless, that is going to be very hyped to see. And oh, unfortunately misses the skull throw, but throws a bomb on top just in case. And Ruble's going to grab that mirror.
All right, so Ruble is on his way out. He's likely going to check the bumper cave as well with that with that wonderful cape. You know, he's thinking that might be access to something. And Justin Z's first dungeon item, or first item in Thieves Town, is the very important, the absolutely required, I don't care what anyone says, single arrow.
Oh, the single arrow. The best arrow. The only arrow.
That is, it doesn't matter how many arrows you have, that's the single arrow that you pull out when you kill Ganon. It really and truly is. We see Ruble actually going over here and going ahead and doing Graveyard Ledge. This is a location that Justin Z has not yet checked. This could be something interesting for Ruble. Justin Z picks up his red mail, so we have a red outline that hurts my eyes a little bit.
It's neon pink for me, so I'm going to call it Synthwave Link. We have a question saying, what if the seed is silverless? That would be impressive considering both contenders currently have silver arrows.
I think he was referencing what if, you know, what about the single arrow if the entire seed is silverless? Then we'll cross that bridge and dynamite it when we get to it. All right, so we're really down to only 2 places where progression can be at this point in time, logically at any rate, here in Thief and Blind, or in K45 in that South Grove area.
And we have the Cane strats. Let's go.
Although we have not yet done the digging game yet, have we?
Yes, we have. Ruble was graced with 10 arrows, I believe.
Okay.
Oh, and there's our first sword upgrade.
Nice! Glad we got a sword.
Blind
Not
was
progression.
Blind actually thought it was the Master Sword because, you know, Blind couldn't see. So
Ouch, this
Blind
is
picked the sword.
sharp. And yet he didn't use it against us at all? How useful would that have been if Blind...
I never said Blind was smart. Blind's just really obnoxious.
So we're going to see Justin Z check kind of these South Dark World checks now. The Digging Game, Stumpy, and I don't know if he checked Type Cave or not. No, he has. He has.
Yep. So technically this means we could find something in Swamp Palace.
Ew.
Yeah,
Going
that's
into Hook Shotless Swamp?
Yeah,
Oh, man.
I never said that was a good time. I just know it's a possibility. And someone confirms in chat that we cannot get the item at the Bombos tablet. We can only check it. That is true. You need a Master Sword or more. So this could lead to some really extra shenanigans.
Yeah, the only place left at this point in time is a dip into Swamp Palace. We still do not have logical access to complete Desert Palace. We still don't have logical access for Tower of Hera. Skull Woods, we've gotten both items. Thieves Town, we've gotten. The only thing we can do, logically, is dip into Swamp Palace. And
Yep.
it looks like Justin Z is saying, nah, brah, I'm going up to Death Mountain.
I mean, at this point, he has 3 items he can go for, and he has another one he can look into. He has the old man's item. He has Spectacle Rock on the inside. He has Spike Cave, and he can see the top of Spectacle Rock itself. Any of those technically could have an item that could be useful, although not necessarily likely.
Maybe not likely, and certainly not in logic because of this dark room. Without the flute or the lamp, the entirety of Death Mountain is logically locked off to us. So he is making a calculated risk that the only thing that you will find in Swamp Palace at this point in time is going to be your access up to Death Mountain, be it the flute or the lamp. Nothing else is going to be there. I don't know if I like this play by Justin, but I mean, it's a gamble, and we were talking about that Justin needed to make some gambles.
You are correct. He did need to make some gambles. And as we're seeing, right now, it's not currently paying off. Ruble picking up his single arrow, very important. In logic, what is currently left unchecked is Graveyard Ledge. Currently, yes. Oh, and technically in logic, although not accessible. Oh, speaking of stuff you don't want to necessarily access, just doesn't find a whole lot right over there. Or right on top of Spectacle Rock. And into Hookshot Cave we go. Nope, he has Mirror. Of course, what am I talking about? Into Tower of Hera we go. He doesn't have a fire source, so he's not going to find out if he needs anything in the basement, or if there's anything in the basement if he needs to go down there. But he can at least also check. Oh my goodness, that's right. I forgot he had the mirror this whole time. Blue returns to you. Boomerang.
Yep, that is Bloomerang. So he's going to do that. He's going to do Tower of Hera. Once he completes Hera, he's going to go ahead and do the east side of Death Mountain. Again, it's a crystal. I can see kind of the logic behind it. Absolutely. I just don't know because of that Swamp Palace play. I don't know if that's the only thing that's logically there. It'll be interesting. And chat pointing out, yeah, we did see Graveyard Ledge. Ruble did pick it
Oh,
up.
that's right. Meanwhile, two Cane of Samaria strats today. I am very pleased to see this.
I think logically we didn't have much of a choice here.
Oh, we didn't. But it's still nonetheless pleasant. And it looks like Justin is setting up for the bomb jump. With the fighter sword, you can actually go and use the top of the hilt while you're facing downward to line it up with, I believe, the top of the blocks, or the top of the corner block, and then use the bomb, and that will allow you to jump over in the event that you need to be able to line it up quickly. But that is indeed if you're only using the fighter sword.
That's really interesting to know. I know that particular bomb jump can be particularly difficult. It's only a 2-pixel tolerance to be able to get across that bomb jump. If you have the boots and do a dash bonk, it increases to 8 pixels, but that's a pretty tight one, especially if you can't see your shadow. One of the advantages that Justin has using that particular sprite, he can absolutely see his shadow, all of it.
That is true. And we are at everyone's favorite burger snake. And just like that, the burger snake was consumed. And we got a burrito for our troubles.
Looks like Ruble is actually making the same play that Justin did. So they, again, when you're in a randomizer race, a one-on-one, it's not just about what you do and the gambles you make. It's doing the gambles and things like that that your opponent doesn't do. The fact that we have Ruble doing the same thing that Justin is means this isn't much of a gamble for either of them. And bottle from Justin.
All right, if I'm not mistaken, that is the 2 items in Tower of Hera. Oh, interesting. Doesn't go to the east side of Death Mountain because he has access and the hammer. Decides to go into Spike Cave first.
Yeah, I do believe this is, I mean, it's still not logical access because of not having the, the method to get up to Death Mountain normally anyway. But it's nice to be able to go ahead and do this check right now.
Oh. So about this not being in the logic, sure, it's not in the logic because they don't have the lantern, but they did have the safety item required to go in for the access.
That's significant for Justin. That's not, I mean, that's an out of the way location that, I mean, it's real easy for Ruble to just go ahead and do the east side of Death Mountain as opposed to doing that Spike Cave check. That is huge.
That is what we'd like to call in the internet big mood.
See,
that is huge.
I was gonna defer to a certain celebrity right now and say, I just want to say that was a huge play, absolutely huge.
Yeah, but no one talks about Roseanne anymore. Nonetheless, we're going and seeing Justin heading right on over the bridge to the eastern side of Death Mountain. And we are going into Spiral Cave, and it is going to be a long trek. It's much akin to watching the Titanic go down and seeing the band still playing. It's kind of heartbreaking, but it has to happen.
Absolutely. And this is, the first thing that you want to do. The other checks coming up from the bottom are a little bit easier, so might as well do it this way now.
And we got a heart container for our troubles. Oof.
Chat pointing out, this does make Dark Death Mountain at least a little bit more palatable. We can go ahead and get Super Bunny Cave. Can't get anything in Hookshot Cave, but we can check to see what Turtle Rock is as well. So it makes it a little bit easier to swallow as you're getting ready to go through.
And Justin doing a very, very optimized strat of going through Paradox Cave on the top side before going into Dark World Super Bunny Cave by the means of using the mirror to transfer between both very quickly. And we have the Fire Rod. Guess what's likely in play right now, my friends? It is Turtle Rock.
I don't know if you necessarily want to see Turtle Rock in play with only the fighter sword, but...
Well, it's also, with the hammer and one of the only dungeons that we have that's required that we can complete at this very moment. Granted, again, not in the logic because we don't have the lamp, or possibly because we may or may not have the medallion. But we're going to find out very quickly now, aren't we? And people are pointing out we did get Mirror Shield. That does mean Laser Bridge is confirmed for being accessible if we get into Turtle Rock.
Well, we had the cape anyway, so that's fine.
That is true. We did have the cape. That is still technically in the logic.
And
Also,
Ruble, at least for now, not getting that Titan's mitts.
That is rough. That is going to not pay off. Also, apologies ahead of time for my voice, because I am currently still recovering from a month worth of a business trip.
I'm sorry.
No, it was a great time, but oof, my voice is shot. Nonetheless, we're now seeing Justin emerge to Turtle Rock, and we're going to find out what we need for a medallion. Is it Bombos? Is it anything else? Well, it's probably Bombos. Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
It's probably Bombos. It is Bombos!
What a shock. Who was surprised? Literally no one.
So is he going to dip in? Do you think he's actually going to
he's going in.
Slide in?
He's slided in on those DMs. He's looking at that window and going, let me swoosh right in. And swoops.
He's going through that Tinder dungeons and goes, girl, Turtle Rock, you looking good.
Turtle Rock, meanwhile, being a literal statue, doesn't respond.
I mean, I wouldn't expect anything else. If it did, then I'd be worried.
And we see our first key confirmed. I'd be a little surprised if it was anything else. Pyromance did add that it did open its mouth. That's some kind of response. But if I keep going with this conversation, I'm probably going to cause some TOS violations. So I'm just going to point out that we're now going to see Justin do this room the typical way without the hook shot, which is definitely a bit tiring to those used to seeing it with the hook shot.
I honestly didn't even know that you can get through that particular room without the hook shot and falling before. Like, I didn't even cross my mind that was the intended strat when I was a kid.
Oh yeah, totally. Justin showing how happy he is to be existing right now, to be going through Turtle Rock.
Oh, we're having people in chat like us, Glenn. This is nice.
Wow, that's a change. Anyways, we have the big key. But no, for real, I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, chat. A little bit of history, just real quick. Glentai was my very first co-commentator in the very first race I ever commentated. So I have a special love and appreciation for Glentai. Thank you so much for jumping in here with me, man.
Yo, anytime. Absolutely anytime. Speaking of time, we do have Ruble going and killing some time in the basement, and I do believe that is going to be a bit of a disappointment. And survey says, oh, it's just 300 rupees.
It was an item, so good for him for checking. But yeah, not anything. Is he going to check Spike Cave? That's important.
That is very crucial, as we know. That may be actually, yep, we're seeing the slashes. We are seeing for a fairy check in the bushes, and now we are going to see the one and only Spike Cave check. Justin going through the vanilla way for the master, or for the big key, to receive a key to be able to continue through this dungeon. And, oh, interesting, we are actually seeing, just in chance, a, Wow, I'm awake, I swear. A mimic cave check. Oh, I thought he was about to enter the door and I was about to say, well, just kidding, but nope, we apparently are. And
Well,
go ahead.
I was going to say, that's kind of one of the new metas, especially to check that first treasure chest before checking Mimic Cave. Traditionally, because it's a quicker check, if you can go ahead and do that. If you're only looking for one item, but we do find a Master Sword.
We can now technically say there is a possible Ganon fight eventually. So, now we're going to see what's in the big chest, and it happens to be a big old 20. Certainly everyone's favorite. Ooh, that unfortunate moment where you see a fairy and you don't have a net to be able to capture it in your empty bottle. And in the meantime, we have another heart container. Without the boots, we can't see any sweet little swag strats using the Canis Maria in that area, but nonetheless, we are at least getting through. And Justin is now doing this room in the dark. It's interesting to see how that actually is a black sprite despite the red mail being there. Because you think it would actually... Oh wait, no, they do that because it's a dark room, never mind. That would really break the concept of dark rooms and make that sprite very unfair. Ooh, Canis Maria strats on the first half of Laser Bridge, don't mind if I do. And we have the burrito confirmed. And we have the key. Will he go through? Yes, he will. He is going for the other chest. And we have the compass. And what do we have left? Ooh, it's an arrow upgrade. Oof. That is what I like to call not a fun experience. Justin pulling off that Canis Maria swag strat to be able to get through an area with just one shot of magic. Going picking up a refill and a heart, and we are going to be seeing some ever so delightful, and by delightful I mean arduous,
Hammer strats, Trinex. Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was stuck in my throat and it didn't want to come out, but nonetheless it did eventually come out of your mouth. It is Hammer Strats Trinex.
It's all right. I wouldn't necessarily want to put that out unto the world either.
Yeah, like I'm okay with commentary cursing, but this is just, oof. The only way it would have been worse is if neither of them had half magic.
Half magic does make it a little bit nice. And now he's using hammer strats on the middle portion and making relatively quick work. GG, yeah. Justin there.
Gotta hand it to Justin. That was very efficient for that level of strat.
But otherwise, other than Master Sword, he really didn't find a whole lot here in Turtle Rock, did he?
No, not really. And that herein is the problem. We now got to figure out where else to go, and the only thing I can think of right now is either A, Swamp, B, Ice Palace, or C, getting frustrated when you realize you have to go into Skull Woods.
Oh, and Justin is actually doing the one thing that chat pointed out that I completely forgot. This opens up the Pyramid Fairy. That's both crystals 5 and 6 are complete now. Both sequence broken, but both completed.
That is going to be one heck of a possibility. It did, from the way that looked, since we already had items for both, suggest that it was going to be a more sooner than later kind of necessity. Let's hope that breadcrumb doesn't end up being wrong. If it does, well, at least that way we can make sure to guarantee Ruble isn't super behind. The bomb getting the scenic tour, because we don't necessarily have a decent mirror strat to go with at this very moment.
It wasn't logically required, so that's fine.
Very true. You gotta love how that one doesn't hurt you, but it hurts walls. And there's the flute. Oh my goodness, this is the required
Holy
strat.
cow.
This is really paying off for Justin right now.
So that does tell us that logically, the lamp has to be in Swamp Palace. There's no other place the lamp can be.
Yep, you're about right there. And that does mean we are going to be seeing Swag Duck. We are going to be seeing the end of Desert hopefully soon. I mean, we do need the boots for that, but nonetheless, hopefully soon. That does mean we are likely going to be seeing a hookshotless Swamp Palace and possibly a clear of Skull Woods and or ice.
Would you really want to clear both Skull Woods and Ice Palace, who are both pendants?
The question here is, do you have a choice?
Well, Skull Woods, we've already found both items. And we've already checked the pedestal, so we know it's not there.
Fair point. I forgot we had found both items in Skull Woods. I thought we had only found one. Ah, and here we have the Song of the Swag Duck. And with that, the goose is loose, the duck is unstuck, the fowl is on the prowl. The
dodo is a go-go, the pheasant is present. Our teleport method in this game is unlocked.
Very excellent rhyme on the very end of that one.
I appreciate that, thank you. So he's going to do some of these other checks, the Jeremiah loop, as it's colloquially known, the hammer pegs, Jeremiah, and then possibly even a purple chest check as well.
And we're going to be seeing what Senior Frog, the breadsmith, has for us today. He asks for 10 rupees as he gets to hammer his loaf of bread. And he gives you 3 bombs.
So he's a terrorist. He's creating explosives.
Listen, just because he had 3 spicy meatballs doesn't mean he's a terrorist. It just means he had a loaf of bread and 3 spicy meatballs. He's either in Italy or from Sweden in Italy. Shout out to our European audience. Oh, getting bonked out of the teleport. Not fun.
All right, so he is going to turn in the purple chest, maybe. Where are you going, Justin?
Oh, he's going and giving it a wild ride.
Oh,
Oh, it does swim. I never noticed that.
Yeah, it swims, but you can't press A when you swim there. He's going into the dark world, get a mirror to the light world, but then use the dark to also check the Bombos tablet, which he has not yet checked and actually has access to now.
That's not a bad call.
Ruble having difficulty on this laser bridge in the meanwhile. He's turning to cape strats, which isn't a bad idea considering he has half magic. He's not going to run out of magic, but he does get knocked down, taking a death. Probably safer that way anyway. Just refill your health for that safety save point.
Yeah, absolutely. And ouch. Only one tablet having any sort of value, and it's unfortunately not the one on Bombos.
Just, I mean, while cleaning up some of these other overworld locations, for example, the Ice Rod Cave that he has neglected up to this point in time, not necessarily anything.
Yeah, as we know, this is just going to be a little bit of extra time on Justin's side. But he's already in a significant enough lead where that won't really matter too much, because even though Ruble has done a lot of those ahead of time, he still has to go through and continue catching up on his dungeon lead, which, as we see, is going to be another about 2 minutes. Oh, and never mind, he still has to get the flute. So I apologize, it's closer off to a 4-minute-esque lead.
And Justin, meanwhile, is going to be checking the Misery Mire spots, the shed and the checkerboard cave. It is Quake to unlock Misery Mire.
Just like the Murderdactyl and the duck, we have a quack to find if we want to go into Misery Mire. And we got a big 20 and a 50, so that's almost 4 big 20s in 2 chests.
It doesn't surprise me at all, actually. I'm really curious to see what else is in Swamp. I know you don't have the hook shot yet, but it feels like that has more than one item. You'll have the lamp there for sure, but maybe there's something else there.
Well, the moment of truth, we're going to have to see. Oh, it's the swag net. And Justin says, nay, I am not going for the swag bonus.
Boo, Justin. Boo. That's the most important item.
That just shows that he doesn't feel too confident in his lead right now. And that is entirely fair. Because realistically, 4 minutes at this point is still not that big of a deal. It's still significant, but nonetheless, it can be easily be made up, especially if one of them has a fault in their logic or checks some stuff that's a little extra, or totally forgets a couple of arrows and has to loot away somewhere in the light world because you didn't keep count. I'm totally not talking about that in experience. And Justin just decides, you know what, let's go into ice and see what happens. Not a bad plan, because that's one of the few places that you can go that you could technically full clear if you wanted to. Why would you want to? I'm not sure. We've already confirmed that there's nothing on the pedestal. But this is a couple of items at the very least to be able to find. And wouldn't it be his luck that it would be in Ice Palace? Personally, at this point, I would have probably just, swallowed my pride and headed into into Swamp Palace. But
yeah,
nonetheless.
Yeah, I don't necessarily understand it, but I think he's gambling. He's still kind of committing to that gamble that the only thing in Swamp Palace was going to be that lamp access. Again, we are 99.99% sure that the lamp is in Swamp Palace based on everything else that we've seen up to this point in time. Both Ruble and Justin Z are kind of been doing the same thing up to this point in time, avoiding Swamp Palace up to now. Oh, shout out. Big John in chat. What's up, man?
And we're going to be seeing a bomb jump. And Justin gets it on the first try, as likely expected. Ruble finally gets the flute. It's going to head over, get that going.
And I like the logic by Ari Kasura in chat saying, we know that Swamp has at least progression to the land. It might have lamp directly, but it could also be boots leading to, a fetch quest to lamp, or boots leading to powder to something. It's entirely possible that we have more than one progression item even in Swamp Palace as well. So I don't necessarily get the avoiding of Swamp Palace by either of these guys, other than you wanting to go mode Swamp Palace.
I mean, that would be the dream, let's be fair. But right now, you have to figure, in Justin's mind, he's thinking, I have to take a couple of chances. And he probably figured, what would it be other than going into Ice Palace? Now, if that chance is wrong, we can say that this could give enough time for Ruble to catch up, and that could be massive if he decides to go and check Swamp Palace before Justin enters.
I mean, here's the problem at this point in time, is that Ruble has been doing the exact same thing that Justin has been doing. And again, Justin is making all these gambles that aren't paying off, but they're not hurting him either, because Ruble is doing the exact same thing. I've said it a dozen times. It's not just about what you do, it's what your opponent doesn't do.
Which is entirely the point. At this point, we could say that Ruble doesn't want to check Ice Palace. We could say that they want to check Swamp Palace first because, quote unquote, it has more items, or because it isn't a pendant. It could be that they want to hope the vanilla hookshot is there. Or they could find something like the boots, which leads into the Desert Palace, which leads to the second item being the hookshot at Landmolus. Unless we found the second item and I just lost track, then whoops. I swear, if that actually happens, I'm going to feel so bad. Anyway, Justin going through, checking one of the remaining areas before going further into the bottom of the dungeon. Hopefully doesn't have to go towards Cold Stare for that remaining item. That would be rather unfortunate. And also a significant amount of time lost. It appears Ruble is going through, again, following a lot of what Justin did, heading to a lot of the overworld, hoping to not miss anything in the process. Could that possibly be the one thing that helps Justin out in a time where he's trying to make sure to not miss anything that he could have overlooked?
All right, well, let's see. Just a compass. All right, so it's on to Cold Stare now.
Oh, this is not a gamble I would have recommended, but nonetheless, if this pays off, this could be amazing, and also could seal a significant amount of Ruble's fate for winning this right off the bat. After all, at this moment, Justin is the underdog with that 0-1. If he ends up making sure to win this, he ends up going and having that second chance to be able to take down Ruble for this stretch of the tournament.
Oh, and the absolute last thing that these runners want to see right now is the Quaked Medallion. Although we don't have access to actually get into Misery Mire, so I don't. But anything that would possibly logically unlock Misery Mire might not necessarily be the best thing to see.
Yeah, even if it were the God Mire, let's be real, no one wants to have to dive into Pendant Mire for anything. Oh, and there are the boots! Oh, that is massive!
Oh my god.
Justin pulling off the... Oh, wow. All right. And this is the reason why he beasted me in the last tournament. He just managed to pull off something that ended up having a progression item in the least expected place. Lo and behold, Cold Stare confirmed to have a progression item. What is this seed?
This is, I mean, just amazing for Justin, because I can imagine, I mean, and if Ruble does not end up going there, I can see him going to Swamp first. Oh, my goodness. So he's going to go up here, check Lumberjack Ledge, just to double check, make sure that it's not something that he needs to be doing.
Wow, that, ooh. I don't know how to feel about that. That is huge. That is,
So, as our tracker is pointing out, Justin picked up the boots, didn't even bother to pick up the pendant. He says, nah, that's junk, brah.
I mean, at this point, it really is, as we knew, and he found out. Wouldn't have that been something, though, if he actually went and fought Cold Stare only to realize, you know, surprise, you needed to actually do that to be able to get to Lumberjack. For those late coming in, we needed the boots to be able to access the rest of Desert Palace, because Justin decided to go and do a risky gamble and take a key from the back end of Desert to open up the front end, hoping to get the big key, only to turn out to not work out in his favor. And we have a Bonk Rock opening, and it's a green rupee. Yeah, the value.
Man, that was so important right there.
Crucial, I would say.
Justin will be able to go over here and do King's Tomb as well. He hasn't checked the Graveyard Ledge yet, which is nice. Ruble, in the meanwhile, is doing the Swamp Palace play.
We also haven't seen King's Tomb. That could lead to something as well. Oh my goodness, if that actually led to the hook shot, we could see the dream confirmed for Swamp Palace Go mode. In the meantime, Ruble not taking that chance. Gets, oh no, the mushroom.
Hey, Glentie, I have a question for you.
I believe I have an answer.
Do you want to do a fetch quest?
My answer is, I hate Frozen.
That's fair.
Fetch quests, though, can be fun. You just don't want to see him chained if you're playing this. Ooh, Justin showing his exuberance for existing at this moment, heading right over into the misery mire. Going to be disappointed because he does need that golden coin of bacon.
So, doing Desert, I guess, when you're already here, you might as well.
And there we have the big key. We're going to see what's in here. So, since Justin's clearing this out, that does suggest that we didn't see the second item. Oh, and there's a key. Not showing a whole lot of promise there. Except that does mean he can finally go to Lamola.
So Ruble does indeed find the lamp as we anticipated to logically find at this point in time. He is going to be doing the left side, hoping that something's going to be here that he can avoid that Ice Palace dip.
By the way, Vitasia,
Yes.
do you know what just happened? We can finally progress in the rest of the game. We found the lamp.
That's nice.
Yay. But it does mean you were right.
Well, while I enjoy being right, I mean, both of these runners are certainly capable of doing all the dark rooms. It's just a matter of logically figuring it out.
Right. This is one of those times where knowing your dark rooms really does pay off. Because logic, as we see, can lead you to some absolutely absurd routing.
So this seed, logically, up to this point in time, required you to dip Swamp Palace before you could go up and do the Spike Cave, which led to Titan's Mitts, which and Justin
Powder,
finds
let's go.
Powder. So there's another fetch quest.
We got double fetch quest status going on. You know what this means.
I can sing more.
Without the lamp, that means before going anywhere else, such as Eastern Palace, Tower of Hera, Palace of Darkness, Thieves Town, and Turtle Rock, we had to go to Swamp Palace first to get the lamp. So that's a required early double dip to be able to advance into everything else just to come back later. Meanwhile, Justin is saying, hey, let's go and do these other things now, because I have other things. And I'm just sitting here going, why?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out. Justin is going to be doing. Oh, he needs to do the basement and ether. Yeah.
Hookshot Cave. Don't forget, he has that one bonkable Hookshot Cave chest.
Yeah, but going all the way up here, I guess for 3 items at this point in time, between basement and ether tablet and bonkable Hookshot Cave. Okay. I really hope this seed isn't pointing to the logic. This has been. Keep in mind, we're at 1:30 right now, and we are still Swamp Palace away from being able to go up to Tower of Hera. We're still a while.
And Ruble, unfortunately, only picking up the lamp. So at this point, the question is, where is the hookshot? Is it behind the 2 fetch quests? Or is it behind the 1 chest in Hookshot Cave? We're going to see fetch quest number 1. We're going to see the mushroom.
This would be cruel if the first treasure chest led to the fetch quest for
enemies! Oh my god!
Oh my god!
That is what? Oh! That is so rude.
Ruble knows it's rude too. He threw a few fire rod shots. Oh my gosh!
That does mean at this point, Ice Palace is only required for the boots, which technically... Oh, wait a minute, you do need the big key for the boots. The boots for the big key, never mind. So this means at this point, as much as I don't want to say it, it does seem pretty apparent that this is going to be Justin's race to lose, unless he manages to not go through any of the fetch quests. But it does mean they've practically had to go in 100% the majority of this seed to be able to get to it.
Yeah, this is one of those seeds that I think runners of this particular game have nightmares about. It's driven them all over the place. Boots required in the very back of Pendant Ice Palace. We haven't had to dip Pendant Misery Mire yet, but Pendant Swamp, I guess there were a couple items in there, but this has really just pulled these runners all over the place.
Yeah, both of these runners are 1 item away from confirmed go mode. And at that point, when it happens, we're going to see some completion done pretty quickly.
Here's the thing. Does Justin back out as soon as he gets this mushroom? Oh, he's not happy. He's thinking about it. He's thinking about it. He does it.
Oh, let's go. All right, Justin now pulling ahead in the lead even further, just saying, you know what? The rest of this dungeon, I'm not a fan of it. This is rude. I'm going to take the chance.
I mean, again, it's another one of those gambles that you kind of expect Justin to take right now because he's behind 0-1 in this matchup. So he's like, hey, YOLO.
Justin pulling off 2 top-tier gambles so far in this race. Not only did he go and check for the boots in Ice Palace, he immediately pieced on out and said, you know what, forget about this, and got the hook shot on the right fetch quest, because he technically has 2 he could have gone for.
So he's on his way, and he's going to be in go mode, and we'll be able to... He says, oh yeah, I have my portal here.
Well, at least Ruble found the carrot sword. There's that.
Yeah, there's a possibility Justin actually won't find that, because he's going to be looking for any more items.
Oh, by the way, that does mean Justin is confirmed for go mode. Would that really make that much of a difference at this point, though? We're going to have to find out. I'm not too sure, because right now, Ruble is technically 1 dungeon behind. Also, depending on RNG placement again, and that might not make that much of a difference.
Might not, but we'll see. Justin in go mode is going to be doing this. I imagine he's going to be skipping the entirety of left side. He's going to be avoiding this. Ruble having a very clean Argus fight in the middle. In the meanwhile,
absolutely. Gotta give credit where it's due. Argus was taken down almost what looked like it was effortlessly by Ruble. That was fantastic. A lot of the seed really does come down to making the right guesses, but really being the luck of the draw of who made the better accurate guess.
I think one thing that you and I and everyone in chat can agree on, this seed is what one might call disgusting, and something that we hope we never have to see ourselves.
I would definitely take this seed and put it in the folder known as Big Booty Hank's Wank Stank Booty Tank. In other words, this is literally something I would throw into an outhouse.
That's a very colorful way to describe it. Thank you for that.
You are welcome. I am very tired, and my filter is kind of almost gone.
We're supposed to have filters here? What?
Yes, believe it or not, yes. Justin confirmed getting the sword, saying, you know what, I don't even want to look at these other chests. Let's keep going.
So Ruble is going up here and going to be checking Hookshot Cave, which logically has more items necessary. He is only missing access to Desert Palace, which is the boots. We know where the boots are in the back of Ice Palace, which is horrible.
Yeah, this is one of those seeds that when Ruble ends up going into Ice Palace and finding them at the end, he's going to be super frustrated. Ooh, Justin getting a good, clean set of pulls and slices. And Ruble going through Hookshot Cave, hoping to find the boots. Not going to find them nonetheless, as we know where they are. Ooh, you gotta feel for Ruble in this kind of situation.
Yes, but in the meantime, Justin Z has found our 7th crystal, and you know what that means, chat. There are 22 treasure chests in Ganon's Tower that can possibly contain the Ganon's Tower Big Key. Get your guesses in chat, 1 through 22. If you are a subscriber to any of the Speed Gaming network of channels or have donated at least 250 bits, you will be entered for our leaderboard. Glentai, my good friend, sir, do you going to have a guess for us?
Why, yes, I'm going to be extra sassy at this very moment and actually say a location instead of using a number, which also doesn't count for the leaderboard. I'm going to say 14, number 14, typically on the left side, which is Bob's chest.
Why, how sassy of you, sir. Meanwhile, I'm going to stick with my traditional, at least until I win, chest number 18. Although, while I say 18, I also kind of hope it's like chest number 1 at the same time. Something quick.
Oh no. I want it to be Okay, I want it to be Bob's chest, but realistically, the coup de grace to make this seed the rudest would be as if it were on the bonk torch.
I mean, that's rude, kind of, except for we had to get the boots anyway, so
No,
then it'd be
that's the
kind of
thing.
cool.
The boots were one treacherous location, and Ruble actually, fortunately, is going for them right now without noticing it. Suddenly, we find out it's accidentally a key sanity seed.
Accidentally key sanity when we haven't had any other key sanity flags so far. Oh,
Suddenly, you just get a text box. This is the big key to Aghanim's tower. What are you talking about? That's not a thing. And just as a good thing to mention, since Justin has entered Ganon's tower, we have stopped the game, so if you were still guessing by the time you hear this, I assure you it has been ignored.
oh, that was some swag by Justin.
Yeah.
A dash strat, then picking it
Normally,
up. I like it.
normally I only see that as a Christos Owen bump, but that was pretty smooth seeing it right there. And it seems in an increasingly popular concept, we're seeing the right side done first more and more often. Probably originally out of the fear of doing it last only to have it, take the most time. We have a butter sword. We have a bee in a bottle. And we have Ether, the most important medallion.
Clearly, that butter sword is only marginally better than the tempered sword, but it's still nice to have.
Ooh, that was so smooth you could argue it was creamy. But it was also a terrible pun, and I appreciate it.
You're welcome, sir. And he's going the full right. He's not even backing out. He's going right back to Bob's chest.
Honestly, not necessarily a bad call if I end up being right. So let's see, that means that was 5 chests, 6 chests, 7? So we're currently on 8? Oh my god!
There it is!
Boom,
What
there
is
you
it?
go. I believe that was I was either 8 or 9. Let me confirm that real quick. Doing the math off the top of my head.
That's number
That was
7.
2, then 4. Oh yeah, you're right, that is 7. If you guessed number 7, congratulations. Da, 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 congratulations.
And McGreen, GG. But you guessed Bob's chest too, didn't you?
I did. That was also congratulations for myself. But nonetheless, more importantly, good job for you, Migrian. Migrian? How do you... I emphasis on the wrong syllable.
Emphasis on the wrong syllable.
Indeed. And shoutouts to all you actually catching that reference I just did.
We're old.
And Justin almost making an entirely clean dash through the right side.
Yeah, Justin is quite a bit ahead at this point in time. It is Justin's to lose. It's several Ganon falls at this point in time.
And with this gauntlet going on, it seems, just a little, narrowly escaping those silver arrows. That dragon had sure wanted to be obnoxious.
It's like he's trying to not die or something.
In a video game? Gasp! And right past the one possible fairy to grab, into the landmo room, and clean triple shot in a 0 cycle. Says, extra items? Pfft, no need. Goes right in.
So we do have to explain something because I do feel like we left some people in the dark. People ask why that's called Bob's chest.
Ah, yes. So, whenever you don't hit the torch in what's considered the third item location, which is the torch in the middle, in the beginning of Ganon's tower, on the first basement floor, if you will, it will actually cause a glitch for the anti-fairy to be all sorts of weird. And we decided to call that Bob. Not myself and Vitasia, this has been around since before us, but someone decided to name it Bob. And ever since, that has been known as connected as Bob's chest and Bob's torch.
True story, if you end up bonking and getting the item off of Bob's torch, then Bob doesn't appear. More than that, if you use the powder on Bob, then the soul of Bob goes into the other anti-fairy in the room, and the glitch just continues.
Which is why you'll see some people say "Rip Bob" when someone actually bonks the torch.
It's the only way to kill Bob, otherwise he is incorporeal and forever.
Yes, forever, much like diamond marketing. Nonetheless, through the rest of that tower, Justin Z goes with the quickness, getting through that second to last room, aka my most hated room. Says that last chest that I like to call Jerry, I think. Yeah, forget Jerry. And a good triple
nice
shot right off the
triple,
bat.
Yeah.
Justin Z's been studying his geometry.
You say as he immediately whiffs round 2.
Oh no, that was an executive decision. Okay, that I can't excuse. But nonetheless, he still does that better than me, so I can't really say much.
Yeah,
he
it's
gets the
hard
last
to...
2 out of there, showing it off.
And Justin Z has defeated Aghanim. He is off to Mr. Blue Bacon himself with Butter Sword, Red Mail, Mirror Shield. He's got his safeties, silver arrows. I don't know if you can really ask for much more if you're Justin.
Yeah, probably not. No, this is a very safe fight to make at this point. And that was an interesting text from Ganon. And we are already on phase 2.
We're going to be really quickly on phase 3 here. Butter Sword just melts over Bacon. I'm getting a heart attack just watching this fight.
I was gonna say, that is what some people might call gains. Not necessarily the gains I would want, but, you know, nonetheless, you do you.
When you say gains, you mean gains for my doctor's bill, right?
You know it. And we are already on phase 4. Ooh, smooth getting that shot out there without having to spam the lantern that, you know, Justin doesn't have. Oh, almost
that was close.
Falls off of the ledge. As we know, that wouldn't have made that much of a difference. But there we have it. The pig has been roasted, and Justin Z is going to be confirmed for finishing at approximately 1:49:03. Feel free to give me that official time over in the official chat, will you?
Yeah, the official SRL time for Justin Z is 1:49:07.
Very nice. Chat, make sure you get those GGs out. The Triforce sure was a thing, and Ruble is saying GG and continuing onward. It looks like we still got a race to finish. So, let's see. Do we have some access to a
Yep,
few folks in here?
Yeah, I am pinging them right now and going to pull them over. And actually, it does look like Ruble sees the done and says, no use wasting my time here. And he is going to forfeit for the rest of the race.
Oof. Oof. You hate to see that, but at the same time, that is indeed frustrating. Honestly, at this point, I would probably say why not finish it, but you know, maybe they just wanted to get this over with as much as possible after being that frustrated. We all certainly know that feeling at Tilt in the past can make or break some decisions, rather.
Absolutely. So both Justin Z and Ruble are available in our setup room. As soon as they are available, we will go through. Remember, Ruble does have one win. These runners are now 1-1. They will have another race to run. I don't know if they're going to do it tonight or another point in time. We'll have to take a look at the schedule, but let's pull them in here to chat.
Sounds like a plan.
And GG to both Justin Z and Ruble. How are you guys feeling after that horrible seed?
Ruble, you want to start with that one?
Not great.
Understandably. That's that seed. What else can you say other than why?
Yeah, that's a good question for that one.
Why again?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
A valid comment, I assure you.
Well, and you guys were fairly close for most of it. I think, Justin, you had kind of about a minute and a half lead for most of it. The real kind of majority difference in there was when you kind of logicked out. You both went up to Death Mountain. You got the Titan's mitts, and you kind of logicked it out and says, the lamp has got to be in Swamp Palace. And it felt like you said nothing else is going to be in Swamp Palace, so you started dipping other locations, went to Ice Palace, found the boots, and it was just kind of go from there.
Well, I went to Ice Palace, but I found the boots in the wrong place. I was like, when there was nothing early, and I still didn't have hookshot, I'm like, well, crap. I basically decided I'd better just continue the dungeon, because if there's nothing else here that I can sequence break into, I'm going to lose. So that boots were on Cold Stare. It was just luck as dumb as it can be, and turned out okay.
Yeah, we can imagine that, because our reactions were, well, this is a chance. He is currently 0-1. That does mean he has to take chances, and then the boots dropped, and we just all collectively lost our minds. I was pretty excited too, but I was also continuing to rack my brain and made checks that were unnecessary, because there's no way the hookshot could have been in the boots places. But at the time, it gave me the chance to think, even as I was doing them. I'm like, all right, well, if it's not Hera, which I didn't have the fire rod when I was there, so if it's not in the basement, I guess just go to Swamp. And then mushroom in the first chest. I'm like, okay, well, again, yeah. I'm faced with this. If it's not at witches, I've probably lost, and then it was again. So yeah, we were actually getting a lot of chat just going nuts over that, asking us to ask you about that. So dumb luck again. Wow.
I mean, really, basically, it's dumb luck, yes, but it was also like, here's how I feel now. Ruble and I have talked, and you guys just said, apparently we were pretty even, and so I felt more behind, I mean, I felt behind the entire time, so I was clearly wrong. The way that it played out at the end, so it just that's how rando is though, because you just don't know, so you have to make your best guess, and sometimes it works out. So
yeah, you're telling
Yeah.
me.
And chat points out, Justin, you had kind of, I'm not going to say a sizable lead, but you had like a minute and a half lead kind of the whole way. It was a pretty linear seed, just kind of taking you one place to one place to one place to one place as you kept on going. The sequence, I mean, you both made the same sequence breaks. You both made the same sort of plays. Going up to Death Mountain without the lamp, of course, and then finding the flute kind of locked behind something that you found up on Death Mountain. So you knew what you were doing kind of the entire time, and you were following each other. Just the nail in the coffin was when you went to when you went to Ice Palace, found the boots, and then Ruble went to Swamp, kind of following the logic, and then full cleared it as much as he could up to that, including the left side, which was kind of put him in a hole that really couldn't be dug out of at that point.
Which is tough, because when you look at it, you could have said, yeah, logically that could be there. And then it said, by the way, this is not version 26. Let's make this hell for you. And then the next thing we know, it's over in Ice Palace.
Yeah, of all places. And on Cold Stare, too.
Yeah, like, of all the options in Ice Palace, that was just nuts.
So, Ruble, talk a little bit about kind of from your perspective as you're going through there. Did it feel linear to you, or did you feel like you were making good gambles there?
I mean, I skipped out on the lamp pretty heavily. I went to Palace of Darkness pretty quickly, even without the lamp or mirror, and probably wasted a little bit of time in there that I didn't need to.
Did you have a sword, Ruble?
No.
Yeah, me either. That was hell.
Yeah, both of your swords were collectively at blind.
At blind, yeah.
Yeah. And then I just, started doing, normal stuff in the Dark World. And it really became apparent that it was going to be a situation where the Seed really wanted me to go into Swamp Palace to find the lamp to go up Death Mountain, and it turns out that I was half right. It did want me to do that, it just had the hook shot as well. And then the ice was really like the cherry on top of that absolute garbage Sunday. Because I just really didn't want to do it. Like, I did everything else. I did Spike Cave. Well, we had to do Spike Cave. I did Dwarves, Purple Chests, the tablets, Hookshot Cave,
Pyramid
all of
Catfish.
this without... Yeah, Catfish,
Yeah.
all of this without boots at all. So that's where, like, all the time came in. Like, outside of, like, things I couldn't do or things that I knew had nothing, I just full cleared it. And Ice was, like, my last place to go, and I pretty much knew I'd already lost then.
I mean, to be fair, with the way that seed was, it seemed like a lot of things were still possible, even in their more ridiculous points. For instance, Justin just noped out in the first part of Swamp Palace when he also had the powder, which could have also led to yet another fetch quest.
Yeah, like you said, you had trouble with Ice. I guess you didn't do part of it. Without the hook shot.
I did the whole thing. It's just that I knew that it couldn't be hookshot because it was in the wrong. I had to go to the wrong part of it, and the keys didn't fall. So, yeah, I mean, it was just like, well, I hope something else is here. Like, what I was actually thinking was it might be Quake, and then we'd have to go into Mire. But then I'm like, well, but that doesn't make sense because I don't have the boots or the hookshot, and then the boots showed up. So,
yeah.
So yeah, it was a brain breaker kind of a seed, wasn't it?
That seed was not for the new and uninitiated. I can assure you of that.
Yeah, and I mean, it's weird. I think based on what we talked about, Ruble, I mean, it really came down to finding the hookshot in sequence was detrimental because you made checks I couldn't. Is basically the difference in the time at the end.
I mean, it really just accounted for the trip up Death Mountain. I think it was probably also the boots, because I was just walking around the entire time.
Well, yeah, I did have those for like probably 15-20 minutes that you didn't, so that definitely made a difference. So, yeah, boy.
What currently both impresses me and also makes me go, oh, I feel terrible, is that you both had the book relatively early on and Swamp Palace access early on. Technically, we could have all seen the hookshot very early if either of you said, okay, maybe. But again, there was plenty of reason for you not to.
Yeah.
So why go and make such what seems like a foolish decision? But in all reality, it turns out, it actually did have the hookshot.
Right. Runners hate that play, and I mean, rightly so. Right, Ruble?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I knew after a while it almost definitely had to be in Swamp. The lamp actually had to be in Swamp, and I just was hoping beyond hope that I could find a fire source up on the mountain, which I did, and then I went back into Tower of Hera to no avail. So there's a lot of places in the seed where I ended up doubling back on my route because I had to, like, I don't know, route in certain weird locations that I didn't want to leave orphaned.
Understandable at that.
It's not like the seed gave us something to aid movement for a long time either. I mean, it could have, like we just talked about, but yeah. So anytime you had to do that, it was costing even more time than it probably normally would.
Yeah. Oh well. Give it a race.
Yeah, exactly.
So I gotta ask the major question that's on everyone's minds: when is Game 3? I don't see it on the schedule. Have you guys figured that part out yet?
We've not, so we'll probably talk about it shortly.
It's right now. No.
Dun, dun, dun.
No, don't do that to us.
Yeah, almost midnight over here. I don't think so.
But nonetheless, do either of you have any final thoughts before we see you both in round 3?
No.
Okay. I'd just like to say, after the first race, I'm glad we're going to a Game 3 because I feel like this is a good matchup, and so it deserved to get that far. So I'm glad that we're getting to duke it out completely and make it the winner of the rubber match gets to go on. So
I have to agree. You both ended up having a great race between each other, which actually makes me want to mention this before we keep going. Make sure you give some love to your runners because they both busted their butts to give you an entertaining race. And I know that's kind of my canned statement because I like alliteration, but really, this seed, along with this matchup, was phenomenal for everything involved, and a little bit of love for that would probably go a long way. Also, if you're not following any of the speed gaming channels or ALTTP Randomizer, make sure you go and check out all of them. Speed gaming currently has 6. Let's see, ALTTP Randomizer has probably 15 billion by now, so feel free to go and check those out as well. And those commentators did an okay job.
If you liked puns and singing.
Oh my goodness, hold on, pause. I forgot to mention Chief Salad, the silent hero, making sure to track this, so that way we didn't have to do a mediocre job at doing both. So thank you, Chief Salad.
And who apparently didn't mark that I completed Ice Palace, which is absolutely correct.
Absolutely. Bonus points for that. Bonus points for accuracy.
Yes.
Looking at that pendant and just going, you know what? Nah, I'm good.
I'm saving and quitting. Exactly.
But yeah, it's funny. I had mentioned when I first saw you both on today that Justin had bodied me in the fall tournament, and just like in version 26, this really did come down to check Skull Woods and check your dungeon items. Go figure. Or not check your dungeon items, check your palace or pendant dungeons. There we go. I can
Yeah.
words.
Yeah, that's right. And also weird was that in our seed Glen, I remember I gambled in Ice Palace and Cold Stare had my Go mode items. So
Oh my god, that's right.
yeah, so
Noticing a trend.
yeah, really. It's like everybody hates going to Ice Palace. Obviously it works for me sometimes. So
Oh wow. Oh, that is nuts.
yeah.
Well, I liked Ruble's very prompt nope. Vitasia, got anything you want to add?
Nope. I mean, what else can you add to this horrible seed that I'm really surprised that Oath Runners still have on their computers? You need to delete this trash immediately.
I mean, there's you could order a boneless update on what's coming up on the schedule next.
Oh, yes. An update on the schedule. So we have a little bit of a break here in the next 20 minutes. Over on Speed Gaming 4, we have a back-to-back race versus Solski versus Couch. They have their...
Oh my god, I love that name.
Yeah. Solski versus Couch 23. They're going to do a back-to-back race over on Speed Gaming 4. So if you have not been over there yet, get over there. We also have the first match at 8 o'clock Eastern, Scary Olive versus Sonicam on ALTTP Randomizer 1. And also at 8 o'clock, Zelda versus DKS89 on ALTTP Randomizer 2. A little bit later tonight at 9:30, we have Freda versus Sea Falcon, not Fred, Frede, over on Speed Gaming 3, followed closely by the Solski Couch rematch almost immediately. And then Flip versus J Measure also at 9:30 on ALTTP Randomizer 3. So still lots of randomizer going on today. What are you doing here? Go to these other channels. Watch these other races.
Yeah, no, I have to second that. Thank you for hanging out with all of us, but seriously, we have a ton of entertainment tonight. So you definitely want to check that out, and I'll be seeing some of you a little later as well. I'll be quiet, and I won't be commentating because I'll definitely need my voice to recover. But I will definitely be in chat memeing it up with the rest of you. So at that point, I guess you could say, hi, I'm Glentai.
And I'm Vitasia.
And this has been an awesome race, and we thank you for hanging out with us and making sure that we had one heck of a good time to show to all of you. Thank you very much, and we will see you soon.
Peace.